as it is. He's got in the last three.
First frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Good cue ball. The point of now no return now, of course, for Ronnie. Whether he'll rein things in remains to be seen, but there's very little room for manoeuvre now. 2 down with 3 to play. Terrific part.
It's quite difficult to fathom, really, isn't it? That last frame, how it ended. I'm just thinking about it now. It's he just basically threw the frame away, in my opinion. Great player that he is. I mean, just the gift that Selby needed. He'd struggled to get over the line. He'd played a couple of shots cautiously. It's a long way back from here. That's how it looks to me. And the thing about him is, I think he's looked pretty good in amongst them tonight. I think all day he's looked okay in the balls. It's just the other parts of his game which haven't been quite right. Seems, from what I've been watching, I've enjoyed it.
Started the session superbly. 2 outstanding frames. He didn't put a foot wrong for 2.5 frames. So we made that crucial break of 56 to win the 3rd of the evening and move back in front.
17.
Well, he certainly timed that well, and had to really nip that to get the cue ball to come inside the 2 reds there.
26.
I don't know if he lost his temper at the end of that last frame or not. What happened? Maybe it's released a little bit of the pressure on him in a very odd way, but I wouldn't recommend it.
33. 34.
That was a really nice little shot there. To get onto that red, you put the cue ball there with in your hand, you wouldn't be better off.
42.
Like I say, in amongst them, he looks $1 million still.
49. 50.
And he's doing it quickly, which is, of course, something he's always done. He's never hung around. We all know about the record maximum in just over 5 minutes, but even all these years on, you know, he's
57.
He's still very, very quick. The quickest, actually, of the lot.
58.
So just a red and a colour. And Mark Selby
65.
will once again see his lead whittled to 1.
66. $73.
Just a reminder of how brilliant he can be.
74.
But had he played slightly differently at the back end of the previous frame, he might now be looking at a 16-15 lead rather than that deficit. The frame long since
81.
won.
82.
I wonder what Mark Selby makes of this brand of Ronnie O'Sullivan this evening. Brilliant at times,
87.
baffling at others.
88. $95. 96.
His second century of the night, 51st of the season,
104.
1060th of his extraordinary career. What a way to keep your hopes alive in the semi-final.
111. 113. 116.
'I guess it would be quite fun if this went all the way also, like the other match. Ronnie would have to win this frame and the next frame. This has been a break and a half, actually.
$131.
Magic from O'Sullivan in the nick of time, a 138 total clearance. This match is still alive. McGill in a decider. Who will he play? Another magnificent long red from O'Sullivan. You can't take your eyes off it.
Eight. Nine.
I don't think he played on the blue into the bottom. but he'll take it.
$14.
It was some red, wasn't it? He's got 2 reds at the bottom of the bunch. Mark Selby must be getting a little worried now, the way he was gifted that last frame, or frame before last. But now Ronnie says he's playing like there's no pressure on him, but you know, you've got to assume, given some of the shot selections, that the pressure will come back on him at some point. He's only human.
23.
But whichever way, it's worth watching. Now, in taking this red, the other red becomes available at the bottom of the bunch into the right corner.
$31.
So now's the time to play on it. If he finishes low on that red, then he can open the reds through the red. And that's exactly what he's done. He make the balls talk sometimes when he's in amongst them.
38.
Most instinctive play you could ever see. He played it in such a way that he was always going to finish on the blue. This is absolutely exhilarating stuff, not for him.
Pretty scary for Selby watching this. Just don't know what's coming next, but the last couple of frames, O'Sullivan has looked unplayable. Can he keep it going and
44.
take this match the distance?
$45. $51.
This is a bit of a stretch.
52. $57. $58.
Well, it looks like a stroke of luck for O'Sullivan, and
65.
rarely for him he'll lose slight control of where the balls go. But the way that he's played since that
66.
aberration a couple of frames back, you know, I'd say he deserves for the balls to finish where they did there, because the frame is just about what he had. He needs a colour here. It's absolutely pulsating snooker.
It's incredible stuff, isn't it? I mean, he didn't need to power into the reds there.
71.
As you can see, Selby already needs a snooker to tie it.
Yes, they'll obviously have a go for that.
Ronnie
I'm sure he
O'Sullivan,
will.
71.
And that is actually an immaculate safety shot from O'Sullivan. You're never quite sure what you're going to get, but he's played 2 virtually perfect frames here after all of that. Remarkable.
And it must scramble Selby's head because he just doesn't know what's coming next. Well, that surely decides this 32nd frame and means that for the second time today we're going the distance. What an incredible day of snooker this has turned out to be. And it's not done yet. Didn't seem possible that this session could eclipse the drama of Wilson McGill. But it's certainly doing its best to live up to that amazing match. Mark Selby nods his head. Ronnie O'Sullivan from the brink of defeat has produced two quite magnificent frames. Big moment this. O'Sullivan's been very good from long range by and large tonight. And he is again. That was as straight as a die. So first blood O'Sullivan in the decider. Didn't want the cannon on the red.
8.
But he's got it. Goodness me, that was edge of the seat stuff too. That's a lot of O'Sullivan snooker has been tonight. Wowee.
Wow, what a shot that was. Goodness me. Goodness me. Like you, I wasn't sure the red was in. I think that was only the speed he hit it at. I'm not sure how this dropped, but it did, and the black was sensational.
Well, it's in O'Sullivan's hands now. A series of superb shots. The red spread everywhere. This would be one of the more remarkable victories of an already extraordinary career if he were to pull this off from where he was just half an hour or so ago.
24.
He's a bit in between here, you know. This could have finished on the red a little better. He's on this one. He's got to go down the table, obviously. But I don't think he particularly likes it. The red to the middle is no fun either. It's not his sort of a shot, really, to drop it in. I thought perhaps he could have been a little better on the red than this. Played it well. Played it very well.
25.
A penny for that man's thoughts. Incredibly, the semi-final is now out of his hands, and yet for most of the day it's felt as though Selby was just one blow away from finishing O'Sullivan off.
Has he played that right? Goodness me, is he on this red?
28.
Wow. That might not be a very good shot at all that he's played there. I don't think he's on this without playing it with a bit of swerve. Well, he's looking at it. Well, he had to play it with a trace of left-hand side.
29.
A lot of points without reply. And a very, very long time since Selby potted the ball.
Believe it or not, there's still a lot of pressure out there. There is a world final at stake after all. You wouldn't have thought so with the way O'Sullivan has approached things this evening at times. But in the last three frames he has been
53.
simply sublime.
$40. 41. 48.
Selby must feel a bit punch drunk sitting in that chair. 2 up with 3 to play. O'Sullivan playing, let's say, an eyebrow-raising shot on the final pink.
It's history now, isn't it? This is incredible what he's doing here. It's absolutely incredible. Now he's turned it around from that one shot to this, when he was on the brink. This to me is just something else.
57.
I mean, I've always thought he was the best player to pick up a cue, occasionally infuriating. Selby is the consummate professional who's waited and waited. There were signs in that frame that Ronnie threw away that Selby had anxiety about just the shots he played, but Ronnie has since then has completely blitzed him. I mean, completely so. But he's not over the line yet now. Has he finished on a red here?
64.
No, what's on? I don't know if there's one onto a pocket. All of a sudden, Ronnie now he's got an eye on the scoreboard. Red colour's all he needs. Wow. Wow.
Is there to be one final extraordinary twist in this truly remarkable tussle? Mark Selby gets his chance to counter.
Well, it was a difficult shot. It's always hard to think that you win a match frame in one visit.
Enormous pressure on Selby now. That was a good pot because he's so cold. He's barely left his chair since he led 16-14. Couple of awkward reds.
No. $16.
O'Sullivan was 2 balls away, that red and a colour.
$17.
Well, it looks to me like he's going to pop this pink and try and play on the red to move the other red, and all of a sudden it opens everything up. A little bit edgy on that, putting it into the thin side of the pocket, which means he's a bit further away from this red. I think this next shot is the big one.
23.
Doesn't win in the match, but he could lose him it if it doesn't go in. Well, again, it was a bit of
24.
a struggle, and now if he plays this pink 100%, then it's really, this again, it's match over if this doesn't go in, and he knows it.
Vicky, his wife, living every moment, suffering in silence up there on the balcony. What an extraordinary day of snooker we've seen.
Well, that was very, very cool under pressure. He knew that he could overrun that and finish behind the blue. Well, the pressure is just too much for everybody, isn't it? Certainly is for me sitting here.
O'Sullivan looked as though he was going to complete the most incredible comeback. And now he's got to sit and sweat and hope that something goes wrong for Selby. One more potentially tricky red to negotiate.
Well, he's having a look at the scores. I don't see that coming into the equation. 34 points, unless you took 2 yellows. Then you're going to, there's no problem with what you take. He's going to need a lot whatever he takes. That can't change. So once he's worked that out, a bit of clarity of thought is how's he going to get on this red, and then, well, I mean, I can't fault anything that O'Sullivan has done in this frame. He just made a terrific break and just couldn't quite get over the line. And on Selby since then has been particularly cool. This is going to be monumental stuff if he wins it.
31.
That's not great, unless he plays the blue. Goodness. To stun the blue in would be a shot to get in behind it. Will he have a look at it even? That's a guaranteed behind the red if he plays it, but he wants to play the green. And of course, he's just got to make sure he doesn't land up next to the red or something. Got the extension on his cue here. Well, that's end of break, surely. That means that O'Sullivan will get another shot in the frame, that's for sure. He didn't quite have it in him to play the blue, and I'm not surprised. It was a monster of a shot. It really was, to even think about. I think he'd have played it.
O'Sullivan, of course, would only need the red.
Mark Selby, 34.
That's a very good defensive shot there. He's played it well. And O'Sullivan surely is just, all he can do here is drop up to this. It's the only way he can play it.
Howie would love a bit of insurance with one of those colours on a cushion. But there's nothing to save in. Well played.
Yeah, because it could have been one of those annoying situations where you miss it 2 or 3 times and the points become closer. And this is what a day we've had. I mean, it's hard to imagine a more dramatic day I've ever known in snooker than this. I've seen a bit of snooker over the years, probably too much. It's like the 85 final, but in back-to-back matches, isn't it? Well, it's a good kiss, but it's not a kiss that's snookered Mark Selby.
He's done it again. He's only gone and done it again. But this time, he's had a great result.
Well, Selby's shot was brilliant. It was a brilliant defensive shot again. Ronnie has decided to go, I don't know what, whether it's plan B or plan Z. But Mark didn't like it, but it's worked out that most of the time Mark's benefited from Ronnie doing that. I mean, the point is, there's nothing worse than just playing out of a snooker and leaving it on. So he thought he would just take a risk, and that this time it's paid off. I mean, it really has this time.
He's spun the wheel so many times tonight. Most of the time he's gone for black and it's come up red. This time he's got it safe. Selby's face was a picture. Barely perceptible shake of the head to see the red land there when it could have landed anywhere. .30 behind, remember. Hasn't got much wiggle room here. what a shot he's played there. Great shot.
Yes, I think he played a brilliant shot and he deserves it. He deserves it, I think, after everything. And it was well calculated and a measured shot. Now, Ronnie's going away here with 2 cushions. Well, that's a brilliant shot. At this time, there was a plan, and the plan was, if he missed it, he was not going to leave it on. But that was a fabulous escape this time. As an authentic shot. Didn't just go hell for leather.
Both players biting their nails, and no wonder. What a finish. All the colours out in the open. It's all about this red. Can certainly be excused some lengthy thinking time here. One false move and his hopes of the world final will be dashed. Oh, he's caught the jaw. Goodness me.
Not an easy shot though. The jaw was always in play, I think, there with that when he had right hand side on it. Now here, I think he has to really think about hiding this cue ball. If he misses it, the ball's got to be in different halves of the table.
He only needs the red. He's got the red. What an extraordinary finale to an incredible match and a truly groundbreaking day of snooker. In all the years and all the drama that this theatre has created, has it ever produced anything like we've seen tonight?
Well, this match, I mean, I can't believe how he's come back and won it. I mean, it's one of the great performances, a slightly eccentric performance, I must say, at times tonight, against Mark, who's done everything by the book. Occasionally there was a method in Ronnie's madness, but ultimately he's played like the genius he is for the most part, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I feel sorry for Mark Selby, but you've got to take your hat off to O'Sullivan. This has been utterly spellbinding tonight.
Yes, on occasion there was madness in the method, but there was plenty of quite incredible snooker thrown in. Ronnie O'Sullivan has come back from the brink, 16-14 down. He's won 3 on the bounce in the most sensational fashion. It's going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan against Kyron Wilson for the World Snooker title.